One Reaction with Leaving. We're bringing you guys a new show called The Daily One Reaction, airing on YouTube every single day. Let's start it off today. It is June 1st. We've got the NBA playoffs rolling. We got the NHL playoffs rolling. We got NFL news coming in. Julio Jones, Aaron Rodgers. We've got MLB in full swing now here in the summer. A lot of sports going on right now. But let's start with the NBA from last night. We had the 76ers and the Wizards. 76ers won, Wizards won 122, 114. So now the series is 3-1. But the big news of the game, you're looking at, okay, well, why did the Wizards win? Joel Embiid, right knee soreness, out of the game. His status, I think, will be key for the rest of the Phillies run. We know that, right? And I think they should be fine closing out the series. It's about, okay, Simmons at the end of the game, he needs to make free throws. They'll go home now. It feels like they'll be their role players will play better. I expect Korkmaz, Hale, Howard play much better at home. Expect them to shoot better. Danny Green went 3 for 8. That should improve. So I think they'll shoot better. They'll be fine in this series because I just don't think the Wizards have the talent. But if you're looking forward, a team like the Hawks could really expose the 76ers without Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid provides rim protection. If there's no rim protection like we saw against the Knicks, Trae Young will have his way. And I think that will open up shooters. It will put the Philly defense on their heels. On the offensive side, who's your shot creator? Who's your guy that's going to go get you a bucket? It was Joel Embiid. Is it Ben Simmons? I don't trust him at the end of games right now. He can't make free throws. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Embiid is out for maybe this series and the next, for the rest of the series and the next. We'll see what happens. But him out kind of puts a big wrench in their plans because we all thought Philly was going to get through this side of the bracket, get to either Brooklyn or Milwaukee and have a chance there. But I think they'd have a lot of trouble with the Hawks if Embiid was out. Yeah, maybe Embiid can come back tomorrow and they'll be just fine. And I think then they'll be great to just get through, get to the Nets or Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Embiid is key for the Hawks series, in my opinion. We'll see what happens with him. I think they should be fine in this Wizard series if they just take Simmons out for the last 2 minutes. All right, Jazz Grizzlies. This was a very interesting one as well. Jazz won 120, 113. Series is now 3-1. And you look at the Jazz right now. They got 3 of the top players in the series, probably, in Gobert, Mitchell, and Conley. And those are probably 3 of the top players in the West right now. You look at it. You got Kawhi, LeBron, obviously, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, but outside of those guys, I like these 3. And Mitchell's getting healthier and healthier. And this is just a series about who's experienced and who's not. I mean, Brooks getting these fouls. They're just too young right now. They're not even getting enough from Jaren Jackson. Morant needs to play spectacular. And one or two of the Jazz big 3 needs to struggle. That's what happened in game 1 with Mitchell out and one of them struggling. I don't think that's going to happen for the rest of the series. I think the Jazz should be just fine in this series. I also think they'll shoot better. Role players at home, they'll play much better. I think they win by 10 plus. But let's look at the West as a whole right now with the Lakers' injury to Anthony Davis, with the uncertainty of Chris Paul and how healthy he is, with the Clippers struggling. The favorite right now to win the West is the Utah Jazz at plus 125. We didn't count in the Jazz because they're the Jazz. We don't know how they're going to play. They don't score as much. Whatever. No one knows them. They're new. But I think they can shoot. They can defend the 3. They can defend the rim with Rudy Gobert. They got 3 of the top players in the West, and they're at home. They have home field court advantage with fans coming into play now. I think the Jazz are really well set up with what's unfolding in the West. I think they can give the Clippers a lot of trouble. I think Mike Conley guarding probably a Paul George. Yes, he might have a little height, but Gobert protecting the rim will limit penetration inside. The Clippers don't have a guy as quick as Morant, which I think will help the Jazz in that series. And I think the Jazz are just playing better right now. I think the Clippers are getting a little lucky. I like the Jazz in that series if those 2 met up right now. And then you look on the other side. If it's the Lakers, I don't know if they're healthy enough. And then you look at the Suns. I just trust more experience, and the Jazz are at home. They could shoot a little bit better. So I think the Jazz have a really good shot to come out of the West right now with the way it's unfolding. They just have a lot of talent, and they're at home, and they can shoot, defend, and they have scorers, and they have stars. And I think Mitchell's getting healthier and healthier. It all depends on Donovan Mitchell and his injury. But right now, you got to look at the Western Conference. It's a crapshoot right now, but I think at the top, you got to look at the Utah Jazz. They're the favorites, in my opinion, with the injury to Anthony Davis. So let's move to the NHL. You got the Canadiens Leafs in Game 7. The Leafs were favored there 3-1. Canadiens roar back, win Game 7. Now they travel to Winnipeg to play the Jets. Again, Canada is a little weird, so they're a little bit behind in their scheduling. And they also have barely fans, so that doesn't mean anything if you're on the road or at home, really. So it's going to be a battle of defense and offense once again in that series. The Jets and the Canadiens, they start, I think, Wednesday. Islanders Bruins. Islanders won 4-3. Series tied at 1. This has been a really fun series. I think this goes 6 or 7. Another battle of offense with Boston and defense with New York. So let's move to the NBA tonight. Celtics versus Nets. The Nets are 12.5. I think that's not interesting. Nets close it out easily in this series. They'll move on probably to face the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Trailblazers versus, if they win, Trailblazers versus Nuggets -2. I think it's a fascinating matchup. I expect Jokic to bounce back from his awful Game 4. Question will be, can Portland hit enough shots? Can they hit shots on the road? They haven't done it yet. And can Nurkic do what he did in Game 4, kind of limit Jokic a bit? Also, if you're the Nuggets, you want Porter and Gordon to step up, be those 2 and 3 guys that really propel Jokic, kind of let him pass out of the double. So those guys, they'll have one-on-one matchups most likely, and the Trailblazers are just not really a good defensive team. Unless Portland shoots them out of the building, I expect Jokic to play better. They're the home team in Denver. Portland has struggled there. I think we get a close one, but I like the Jokic-led Nuggets to win that one tonight. Lakers Suns, and now this is probably the most interesting series on the docket with the injuries. Paul, he's looking even healthier and healthier, expecting him to be around 90% tonight. And then you got AD hurt, and he is likely out tonight. That came out last night. So this game at -5, this feels like a Suns win. They're healthy. They can take advantage of their guard play. They don't have to worry about inside with the mismatch. Paul and Booker should have a big game. They're at home. They got the fans, but the king is still there. I mean, superstars rise when they are needed the most. You've seen this time and time again from LeBron James. He saved his energy for the biggest moments. You've seen it across these playoffs in the Warriors game and in the Suns series, and this feels like a big moment. This is a pivotal game on the road, and I think James has the ability to carry his team and do what he does best, win when the cards are stacked against him. And I think while we may pencil in the Suns, which is probably the right pick, they have all the advantages. If KCP comes back, which he's a questionable, and he can shoot. You got Caruso shooting, who can improve. Schroeder can also create. I think LeBron, even if he gets triple team, will make the right passes. I think they'll be just fine offensively. I think they can handle the Suns defensively just a bit. I think it comes down to the King versus Booker and Paul, and I'm taking the King all day. He's still lurking, and Suns could very well win. They could really, but I just can't go against LeBron James in a pivotal game. LeBron in a pivotal game. All right, let's move to the NFL. We got NFL news. Julio Jones, most likely situations could go to the Titans, Patriots. You got the Rams involved, Seahawks now as a fourth team. So there's a lot of teams. Falcons are now willing to give up a second round pick. I think this deal happens this week to one of those teams. Today at 4 p.m., they actually gain money if they trade. They gain money if they were to trade him after 4 p.m. So expect the buzz to heat up even more after 4 p.m. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. That could happen. Maybe the Packers have a plan for him. I don't know. I think he stays. And then Deshaun Watson as well. But there's so much uncertainty around him. So big day in the NBA tonight. You got also NHL. Got the Lightning and Hurricanes in what is a very fun series. Lakers Suns, probably the most interesting game tonight. Watch out for the King. That's the message of the day. So one reaction, the daily